Hey, 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 and welcome back, everyone, to Strange Minds 6. I'm your host, Ruby, and today we're going to be getting back into the book of Superstitions, a handbook of folklore, myths, and legends from around the world by D.R. McElroy. So, get ready, hit that like button, subscribe if you're not subscribed already, grab a snack, grab a drink, or sit back and relax, and let's get to this. Australia and Oceania. There is incredible variety in the independent nations of the Pacific Ocean. Modern Australian tradition derives from its roots as a European penal colony, but the vast number of Aboriginal tribes and the unique geographical attributes of the continent have exerted their influence as well. Pacific Island nations were settled by various ethnic and political groups, while many of them share somewhat similar mythical and religious roots. Others have developed beliefs that are unique to them alone. The enormous expanse of the ocean provided a real barrier to homogenization and allowed for the development of some truly interesting practices and beliefs. Australia is the world's smallest and flattest continent, and is the only nation that governs an entire continent, which happens to be the driest continent on Earth. The outback, the largely unpopulated interior of the country, receives about 11 inches of rain a year, which isn't a lot, but it greatly exceeds the mess that 1 inch that falls in the driest part of the Sahara. The term Oceania refers to the entire body of islands, including Australia, throughout the South and Central Pacific Ocean. The area of the Pacific Ocean is larger than the area of the Earth's landmasses combined. There are thousands of islands scattered across the Pacific, which can generally be lumped into three broad categories: continental islands, including Australia, New Zealand, and New Guinea; high islands, also volcanic islands, such as those in Melanesia and the Ring of Fire area of the Pacific; and low islands such as those on Micronesia and Polynesia, including the Hawaiian Islands. These different types of island groups are based on how they formed geologically, a topic well beyond the scope of this book. The mythology of Oceania is a polyglot of varying gods, legends, and traditions far too numerous to recount here. Even Australia has over 900 different Aboriginal tribes. Many of the beliefs are similar, differing mostly in the details. Others are vastly different, and their origins are shrouded in mystery. Easter Island. Here's a look at some of the mythology of this incredibly rich and varied region. Australian gods and goddesses. More of these derive from Aboriginal tribes and have lived in the region for thousands of years. The Dreamtime is a mythical period of time when gods and goddesses created and roamed the earth. Adno Artina, he is the Dayari spirit guardian of Uluru, Ayer Rocks, who inhabits the form of a lizard. Altjira, also known as Alkira, creator god of the Aranda people. Altija created the world and everything in it, then disappeared without any more contact. Bayaman, or also known as Bayami, sky god of the Camilario people and the creator of teacher of man, and the creator and teacher of man. Bayami made the world and everything in it. He taught humans the skills of hunting, fishing, and predicting the weather, plus many other things. Ooh, I am gonna try to say this name. Birahignulu. Birahignulu is the fertility goddess of the Camilario people and wife of Baimi and mother of Duramulum. Duramulum, also known as Papang. Papang is the All-Father and Sky God of the Camilario and the son of Bayami and Biragnulu, the supreme creators. He lives in the moon, from which he watches the ongoing of earth, creates the weather, and protects shamans. He only has one leg. Ingana, also known as Inganu. Ingana is the Dreamtime snake goddess who gave birth to humanity, as well as all of the marine animals of the world. She helps the Wandjina straighten out the humans of the world. Luma Luma, god of gluttony. Luma Luma began as a whale in the sea who came to land to exchange his knowledge for food, lots of food. He took to showing up at feasts, invited or not, and eating everything in sight. His hunger grew until he took to eating dead children. The people could not abide that. So they rose up against him and tried to kill him and his wives. This took a long time, partly because Luma Luma was the size of a whale, and partly because he demanded that his death be performed accordingly to certain rituals. The people tired of this and tied his mangled body to a tree. They built a shade hut over it and left it to rot. Eventually, the body disappeared. Some believe scavengers ate it. Some believed that Luma Luma turned back into a whale and escaped to the sea. Mokoi, also known as Mokpoi, evil spirit of the Yolung people. Mokoi can be invoked by dark shamans using black magic and will do their bidding. Shamans, beware. If you lose control over Mokoi, he will dispose of you in a terrible fashion. The rainbow snake. The rainbow snake is a fertility goddess and mother of humanity, as well as goddess of plant growth and the cooling rain. The snake is a chimera with with the head of a kangaroo, the tail of a crocodile, and the body of a python. She is decorated all over with water lilies and waving tendrils of green growth. Yingarna is the female aspect of the snake, the mother of creation. Her son is Nigaliod, the male aspect of the snake, the great transformer of the land. Cave paintings and petroglyphs have illustrations of the rainbow snake dating back over 8,000 years ago, making this deity one of the oldest on earth. Walaganda. Walaganda is the chief god of the Wandjina. He descended from the Milky Way during the dream time and made the earth and all living things. Having finished this task, he was less than pleased with the results. He went back home, then returned to earth again, this time bringing Wandjina with him. With Injana's help, they birthed the humans, then spent a considerable part of the dream time teaching the beings they had created how to be people. Wandjina. These are spirits of the dream time that are powerful beings with no mouths, but enormous eyes sunk in oversized heads, atop bodies with very long arms and legs. Yes, they look like space aliens, and this recollection is backed by ancient cave art discovered in the early 19th century. The Wandjina descended from space, the Milky Way, to be precise, giving learning, law, and civilization to the people. Yihi. A dreamy creation goddess, Yihi woke during the dream time and saw that all around her was barren. Her waking brought light to the darkness. As she walked across the land, flowers and trees grew in her footsteps. As she looked into caves and valleys, butterflies and beautiful insects fluttered forth. In the shadowy places, she felt spirits yearning for freedom. She gave them bodies, and all the creatures of the land sprang from the dark places. Pleased with her efforts, Yihi departed. Unfortunately, her skills as a builder left something to be desired. Most of her animals had no legs or wings, nor any way to move. The creatures of the world prayed to her, and they bid her to return, which she did. She gave all the creatures their moving parts, but many of these were odd: a duck's bill and feet on an animal with fur, a deep pocket on a giant hopping rabbit, several birds with wings that couldn't fly but instead ran about on big feet, a bear with legs too short to walk on, which instead was stuck in the trees eating leaves. Yihi saw a naked animal that walked about on two spindly legs. Did I make that? She wondered. She saw that the animal was lonely, and she offered to make it a mate. The animal had some fear about what the goddess would make for him, but she created the perfect mate. She created woman, and the animal became a man, and they were happy on the earth. Then Hihi returned to the dream time for good. Oceanic gods and goddesses. The gods and goddesses of Oceania vary greatly due to the isolating effects of island living. Adi Melagu, Fiji. Goddess of the sky, she comes to earth in the form of a gray rat, but can shapeshift into a beautiful woman or a horrible hag with a yard-long tongue. If a man makes love to her beautiful self, he will die. Hina, Tahiti. Hina is the moon goddess and goddess of creativity and feminine power. She is also mother to the god Oro. To the Maori, she is Hini, goddess of the nighttime and death. In her aspects of Hini Keha, she is the full moon. As Hini Uri, she is the purple lady, goddess of the new moon. As Hini Titama, she is goddess of the dawn, maiden of the light, until she learned that her beloved husband, Tauni, is also her father. To the knowledge shatters her, and she flees to the underworld and refuses to return. Tain changes her name to Hini Nue Tepo, goddess of death and lady of the night. She looks after the dead in the underworld. Kane, Hawaii, god of procreation and the sea. He is part of the trinity of creator gods along with Ku and Lono. He is associated with the Maori Tain. Ku. Also Kukapua, Hawaii. A hideous, ugly god of war. Ku is the head of the creator trinity with Kane and Lono. Lono, Hawaii. Lono is the popular god of food, music, and fertility, and the third member of the creator god trinity with Ku and Kane. Offerings of songs and sweet potatoes make him happy, and he brings the soft rains. Lono's twin brother, Kanaloa, is god of the underworld. Maui, New Zealand. A Maori trickster god. Maui was born as a jellyfish and thrown into the sea by his mother, Tamanue Te Ara. The sun god. The sun god. The sun god rescued him and dried him out so that he looked like a proper boy, then returned him to his mother. His father, god of the underworld, gave him a magic fish hook that could catch anything. Maui showed off by pulling up some fish so big that they became islands. He also hooked the sun and slowed its movements. He came to an untimely end when he tried to fool around with the enormous goddess Hinenu Tepo without her consent. She squashed him between her gigantic legs. Mangananga, Fiji, goddess of death. She guards the gates of heaven, where only married men may enter. Ninduatina, Fiji, god of fire. He lights the night to aid sailors in navigation. Oro, Tahiti. A war god, Oro fights with a spear and has 3 daughters who drive him mad. Toi Mata, Axe Eye. Ai Tupau, Head Eater. And Mahu Fatu Rua, escape from 100 stones. The girls loved to push their father's buttons, while the god's son, Hoa Tapu, faithful friend, seems to be his father's favorite. Pele, Hawaii. Pele is a volcano goddess who makes her home in the active volcano Kilua. Rigi. Rigi was a white worm that gave its life to create the Milky Way. Before that, its sweat made the seas of the world. Ta Aroa, Tahiti. Ta Aroa is the feathered creator god of the universe. There were 2 eggs in the beginning, and Ta Aroa was born from one of them. When he hatched, he cooked his own flesh and made the land. He created mountains from his stewed bones, and clouds from the steam of his boiled organs. He rolled his intestines into eels, and squeezed his blood to make birds. All manner of flowers were made from his feathers. The sun was made from the egg yolk, and the moon and stars from leftover pieces of the eggshells. Together with Hina, he fathered the god Oro. Australian and oceanic mythical monsters. There are multiple ethnicities in this section, including Japanese and Southeast Asian. Abia, New Guinea. A giant eel monster that lives at the bottom of freshwater lakes. Abia protects fish and animals in the lake as if they were its children. Anyone trying to catch a fish or lake animal will be swept away by the huge wave from Abia's tail. Bunyip, Australia. An aboriginal monster of the wet places of Australia. It has several features, which usually include dark fur and nasty pointy teeth. Drop bear, Australia. These are giant koalas that like to fall out of trees and eat tourists with their sharp teeth. These are joke creatures, like snips and gamusinos, whose stories were told to the naive to make them look foolish. Mohau. Mohau is a man-sized ape-like creature with long shaggy hair and very long fingers, with sharp nails or claws. They are believed to eat people and have been blamed for some documented deaths. Nanau, Hawaii. Nanau is a shark man, resulting from the mating of the shark king, Kamahuali, and a human woman. Nanau can shapeshift between a normal man and a shark man. When in normal man form, he has a huge gaping shark mouth on his back. When in shark man form, his hunger is uncontrollable. He kills many people before the Molokai people finally killed him. Ningen, Antarctica and surrounding islands. From the Japanese for human, these large-bodied, white-skinned monsters can reach lengths of 100 feet, 30 meters. They have human-like eyes and mouths, along with fins or flippered hands and feet. Some believe that ningen sightings are really beluga whales. Taniwa, New Zealand, Polynesia. A very large sea serpent of fresh water or salt water, Taniwa, may be able to shapeshift to dragon, whale, or shark forms. It is definitely man-eating. Yaramahiahu, Australia. An aboriginal vampire. It is described as a short, red thing that resembles a demon. It has no teeth but drops out of trees onto its victim and sucks their blood with octopus-style suckers on its hands and feet. If it decides to eat a victim, it will then sleep and vomit the person back up after it wakes. The person may or may not be still alive. Yowie, the Down Under version of Bigfoot. Yowie are humanoids standing over 6 feet, 1.9 meters tall, with flattened noses and dark brown or black fur. Australian and Oceanic superstitions. Again, as a result of cultural mixing, the superstitions of this region are quite different from those found elsewhere. Killing a willy wagtail bird makes the bird's spirit angry. It can cause outbreaks of violence that kill people. Australia. Don't put a shoe on the dinner table. If you do, someone close to you will die. Australia. Don't whistle in graveyards. A ghost might follow you home. Australia. Don't cut finger or toenails at night. You'll summon demons. Malaysia. The Min Min lights, unexplained atmospheric phenomena, are the spirits of dead ancestors who watch over you. Others believe that the lights try to distract you from your chosen path. They can even come down and carry you away if you stare at them for too long. Australia and New Zealand. If you get lost at night, take off your shirt, turn it inside out, and then put it on that way. You'll find your way home. The Philippines. Touch or take a pinch of food that you didn't get to eat in order to avoid cravings. Kempunan, cravings, that go unsatisfied can lead to death and a soul that is unable to rest. Malaysia. Don't go to bed with wet hair or you will go blind. Philippines. When a child loses a tooth, they must throw it up on the roof so that the new tooth will grow in straight. Philippines. During a storm, cover the mirrors with black cloth so that lightning can't enter the house. Australia. Don't light 3 cigarettes off a single match. This is a superstition believed by soldiers in most countries. You see, a sniper sees the first aims with the second, and fires at the third. Don't be that third guy. Australia and elsewhere. If a woman blows a didgeridoo, she will become pregnant. Aboriginal Australia. And that, my dear friends, is the end of the book. I hope that you have enjoyed this book, and if you have any comments on maybe what else to read, or what interests you, then I will definitely try to find books around that area and then see what I can read. The next story that I actually want to read is Baba Yaga's Assistant. It's either that one, Lost Soul, Be at Peace, or that one. So definitely comment down below and we can see which ones you guys want to hear. But until then, my dear friends, this has been Ruby, signing off.